So guys, the GPU market completely tanked, and with the release of the new both Intel and Ryzen new CPUs, the older CPUs can be had for a very, very low price. So today I actually got a stunning deal on both an RTX 3070 and a Ryzen 9 3900X combo. I paid $400 for the 3070 and $450 for the combo with a Ryzen 9 12-core CPU. They threw in an all-in-one cooler, 32 gigs of very good RAM, G-Skill RAM, and an Asus RoG Hero X570 board, and they also threw in a case and a power supply with sleeved cable. So let's get into the cleaning, refurbishing, and let's build this PC out. In the middle of it, we also have a new SSD from Verbatim to test out. So let's get started, guys. Okay, so here we have the components. Basically, we're gonna slap this motherboard, Ryzen 9, this stock cooler, we're gonna try. If it doesn't work, we're gonna put an all-in-one cooler, and it's 3070 into this case that we just cleaned, and we have that Sharkoon power supply in there with sleeved cables. So let's do that and let's see how it turns out. Okay, so let's get started with this RTX 3070 from Zotac immediately. Now the first thing is I'm gonna try to clean off this thermal pad thing on the back, and some isopropyl alcohol of course will do the trick. So there's really not much to worry about. Now it's just a matter of actually dismounting it. So let's get started. Okay, I've had the same card in my main PC, by the way, so I know that these two screws need to come off as well. At this point, one should simply be able to open it up. I think I will just use some brute force here, and it actually worked, yeah. So here we go. Very good paste application by Zotac on this one. I have to give it to them. Really nice. Now the thermal pads are a bit disintegrating themselves, which is not ideal, but the paste is perfect. So let's get cleaning. Okay, it's now time to actually repaste it. So let's go over it. You wanna make sure to cover it properly. Okay, this should definitely be enough. But we will do a test cover just to double check. Okay, so now just to double check. Okay. Perfectly covered, as you can see. Everything going according to plan, guys. I mean, don't judge it. Yeah, just a PCIe 3.0 connector break-in. We just got sent from Verbatim their newest SSD. It's a SATA SSD, and it's the Vi550 S3. It's a SATA SSD coming at a value standpoint, and now, well, we're gonna try it out and do all the benchmarks by putting it in the most likely use case scenario, which is gonna be a budget build like the one I have behind. This one. Now it might look unimpressive, but it's actually rocking a Ryzen 9 and a 3070. So first of all, let's take a look at the actual SSD. Now, I was pretty surprised in a good way because it's pretty clean and it's basically just a black finish, so it does look good. Even if it's on the front of your case, it's gonna look nice. So overall, the aesthetic is good. There's not much to say. Let's get into testing it. Let's go. Okay, so let's get installing it. It's an ATX build, but with a small form factor, so it's actually gonna be slightly more difficult than usual. Mounting procedures will vary depending on your use case scenarios. Okay, so we slotted it into, well, the bracket into this case. Then we just have to connect proper cables right here and right here, and then we can just slot this guy back into place. Solid. Okay, so now we have the PC fully built and we are testing it. And now, just by running Heaven benchmark, these are what the temp look like. Maximum temperature on the CPU, it's 79 degrees because we have a standard fan curve and it's aimed to keep the fan speed pretty quiet. And now if we go look at the GPU side, we have a peak temperature of 73 degrees, which is actually really good, and just 83 on the hotspot, which is actually really nice for that Zotac card. It means that the repasting actually worked quite well. Alright guys, so we ran a proper Firestrike score right there, and I mean it's really impressive actually. We got close to 34k on the graphics, which is really good. We got close to 30k on the physics, which is, I mean, a 24 core CPU, we were expecting that. And then 27k pretty much total. That's really good guys for a PC this small. So guys, we also ran a crystal disk test to actually test the SSD properly, and the performance is really good. This is top-notch state SSD performance, no read, sequential read, and then 450 in write. That's actually good, and all of that with the SSD staying at around 40 degrees. And I mean the temperatures overall in the PC are really nice. After all these tests, I've had hardware monitor opened, and we've got a maximum of 72 degrees on the GPU and a maximum of 81 degrees on the CPU with the stock cooler in this very small compact case. So I'm really happy with how everything is performing actually. So let's cut straight to the conclusions. Alright guys, so here we are with the conclusion. The PC is finally finished, looks gorgeous in my opinion, and now for 900 euros, this is what we have. We have a 12-core, 24-threaded Ryzen 9 3900X, an RTX 3070 performing as good as new, a Sharkoon power supply with fully sleeved cables, and then we have 32 gigs of RAM, G.Skill memory, and a 1TB SSD from Verbatim. Let's go over, discuss the performance a bit. You've already seen how well the SSD performs for a SATA, and I think it's a good value. I think if you're just gaming, you don't really need the NVMe SSD, but it really depends on your budget though. And I also personally like to have just a single drive with more space instead of having like a half a terabyte main drive and then a 1TB secondary drive. I don't really like that, but it's personal preference. But now, the stock cooler, the stock Ryzen 9 cooler performs really well. I mean, aside from the looks, which I really like, it manages to keep the CPU quiet while staying at a relatively solid power consumption. Now, I was thinking about putting an all-in-one cooler into here, but it would have been very difficult to fit, so I ended up just settling with the stock cooler because it performs so well. The CPU is at stock, but you can actually undervolt for a bit more performance. I have a full tutorial for that right here. The Ryzen 9 3900X is undervolted the same way a 3900 XT would, so you can just copy that. The GPU can be undervolted as well. I have a tutorial for that as well. I will put everything up here. And basically, well, this Q500 cage from Cooler Master, kinda like it, but I wanna hear your opinion. We'll put a bit of footage of it in the end as well. And I mean, this kind of PC can play games at high resolution properly. It's a beast for video editing, streaming and stuff. So I really like how it came out, but I wanna hear your opinion. Let me know guys. Bye.